Hey now, Alpha Chatters, what is happening? Yours truly is back with yet another epic collection book review for you. This being the recently released, a couple weeks ago, Captain America Volume 7, The Swine, covering 1976 to 1978. Started it yesterday. I read the first 14 issues yesterday and the last 8 issues today. 14 issues, guys. Can you imagine having to read 14? Not having had to, but just reading 14. Like, I wasn't forced. Nobody put a gun to my head to read these issues. I wanted to. But yeah, I read from 201 to 214 yesterday, and then I read annuals 3 and 4, and then 215 all the way through 221 today. And not bad. It didn't suck. I enjoyed it. $49.99. So I think this is like the last $50 book we'll ever see in our lifetime. It's going to go up to like $54.99 and then $59.99. The Swine. Interestingly enough, I noticed when I read this, guys, the Swine itself, I'm going to put this down, is about, there's specifically a guy in this book called the Swine, Hector Santiago, who in issues 206 to 208 is a Central American, not a dictator or despot, but he's a commandant of a prison fortress, and he is nicknamed the Swine because he's a piece of shit, like a pig. He's just a swine. And oddly enough, I'm sure you guys have read it or will read it. I hope. Definitely read it. I mean, this is actually pretty... I was gonna say pretty good, but that sounds typical. It's decent enough. I'll get to it in a second. But the word swine means a lot of things throughout this book. A lot of people are referred to as swine. Arnim Zola at one point is called a swine. Some other people later on are called swine. It's just interesting. And then they picked this as the title, the Swine. And of course, there's a guy who is nicknamed the Swine. So in this volume, we have 201 to 221 and annuals 3 and 4. Jack Kirby's run on here ends mercifully, I'd say good. I always say, I've said in the past, like when he did Black Panther, to go from Don McGregor to Jack Kirby in Black Panther, and then here in Captain America, go from Steve Englehart to Jack Kirby. For me, it's like going from playing PlayStation 5 to PlayStation 1. It's like going backwards in every conceivable way. The writing, the artwork, all of it. Maybe you guys love Kirby. I don't hate or dislike his stuff, but, and I've said this many times in other videos, for me, he is not the king. Steranko, Adams, way far better artists than Kirby. Kirby was really the king when he had Joe Sinnott as his inker. Anybody else? Yeah, I said it, guys. And in here he sometimes inks his own stuff as well as pencils, writes and edits, much to his detriment, to the story's detriment. Sometimes he has John Verpoorten as his inker. I think he had Dan Green at one point as his inker. Somebody else was his inker, but it was mostly his show. And what I felt was your typical usual backtracking of monster movie, like, in comic book form, monster movies, aliens, horrible monsters and demons, and by 1970s, well, this takes place between 76 to 78. His run was 76 to 77. By that time, we're kind of past this now. We're past monster movies and body snatchers and ghosts and goblins and ghouls. But Kirby, for whatever reason, is just an old dinosaur. He's an old dinosaur, and it's very apparent because there's no mention at all about the Avengers. There's no mention of his outside life, other than the Red Skull, World War II, Sharon Carter, Peggy Carter wasn't mentioned in this, but just Kirby writes what he knows, and what he knows is the olden days, the big one, not the Great War. The Great War was World War I. The big one was World War II. That's what they called it. And that's what Kirby knew. That was Kirby's heyday. That was Kirby's peak. Or maybe not his peak, but it was his young days as a young man. And that's what he knows. And Captain America is a symbol of America. That's it. You know, there's no Captain America that we as modern readers are familiar with. Even though he'd already been out since what, 1964, 13 years worth. His other volumes 2, 3, 4, The Secret Empire, 5, great stuff that Kirby could have worked with, but instead it feels like a retread, and not all that good, especially when you read later stuff. And then after he finishes his run, he also did annuals 3 and 4. When you get to 215, you get Roy Thomas doing 215 and 217. 216 was a victim of the dreaded deadline of doom, where they just didn't make it in time. So 216 is they show a one-page spread of Captain America, and then the rest is apparently a reprint of Strange Tales number 114, which, if you read volume 1, was from 1963, which was not Steve Rogers, but the Human Torch battling an imposter Captain America. So they decided to put that in there. And then Don Glutt, who worked with Roy Thomas in 217, went all the way through 220, and then Steve Gerber did 221. Steve Gerber will do the next couple of issues, so Volume 8 will have a couple issues of Steve Gerber before someone else takes over. But Kirby, fortunately, Kirby does introduce us to, got a lot on my mind. Kirby does introduce us to Arnim Zola in issue 208, in a last panel cameo, 209 fully. Actually, 209 to I should go back. So 201 to 203, we get a 3-part Night People storyline. This is 201. Where we have Night People. So this is an example of what I'm talking about with 201, 202, and 203. The Night People, and this is a problem that Kirby has. He doesn't stick to one idea. He just jumps to multiple pitches and ideas. One minute, the Night People are these weird, ghoulish people who steal things. That's in 201. Then 202, it's revealed that they might be alien people, like they're alien people, or at least it's hinted and intimated that they're from another dimension. That's what it is, another dimension, which I guess is alien. And then by issue 203, they're crazy people. They're from an insane asylum. Like literally, it goes like their whole arc shifts and changes. And it's the same thing with Agron, the undying one. And hold on, the unburied one, yeah. So right after that, we get 204, 205 is Agron, the unburied one, who, like the Night People, just doesn't have a cohesive, cogent origin or storyline. He's from the future. I'm talking about Agron. 204 and 205 is a 2-part Agron issue where this dude has no eyeballs. He's apparently from the far future, but he's also like a zombie, like an unstoppable zombie alien creature who later is revealed to have been from the Earth of the far future, coming back into the past to the 20th century in order to escape the end of his world. That's that. I should actually show you guys what he fucking looks like. Or better yet, why don't you guys buy the book and read it? No, I'll show you it. Look right here. So look at this. This is Agron, guys. This is Agron. Looks scary, right? Big, scary, eyeless monster who can destroy many things and blow up shit. But he's just from the future, and he's another world conqueror. It's true sci-fi thriller. That's what's called Kirby-esque. And it's just not all that interesting. The dialogue is horrendous. It's very middling, very much in line with how Stanley wrote in the early 60s. And obviously Kirby was, his guy. You can either love or hate the artwork, like Steve Rogers, and but this is the 70s. We should be beyond this kind of blocky, gorilla-looking. I mean, everybody looks like a fucking gorilla. Steve looks like a gorilla. Fucking the doctors and the cops over here look like gorillas. Agron looks like a gorilla. The night people look like gorillas. Ooh, I will say though, this looks fucking fat. I like this though. Kirby drew a pretty scary-looking Agron who's meeting his end. But then we get 208. The fucking man-fish. We get his name is Man-Fish, and that's what Captain America has to deal with. I mean, come on, the man-fish, really? Come on, Kirby. Kurtzberg, that's his real last name. He was a Jew, Kurtzberg. Okay, so anyway, so each story trails off into the next storyline. The Night People gives way to Agron. Agron gives way to the SWINE. The SWINE now from 206 to 208. What was it? So he goes off on a mission. Sharon is brought back into S.H.I.E.L.D. Falcon does his thing. Falcon got fucked up by the Night People, got shot. Him and Layla, his black, angry girlfriend, with the big afro, they got brainwashed, and now they're part of the Night People. So now Falcon's, he's out. He's away, thankfully. And of course, I use that typical, oh my goodness, I'm the Falcon. Oh, that black ghetto voice. Oh my goodness, who this? Oh yeah, oh my goodness, who that? I use that for his voice. And of course, Layla was like, what you talking about, turkey? That was my black woman voice. Like the Mandarin, not racist, but I am having fun, guys, because it's racial humor, and I don't give a fuck. You guys should do it too. It's fun. Trust me, it'll make the story go by fast. Yeah, there's just a lot of shit. Kirby doesn't know how to write characterization. It's just good guys, bad guys. The SWINE we meet in 206, 207, 208. We meet his cousin Donna Maria, who actually ends up becoming a valued asset in the subsequent issues. So from 206 all the way through 214, she becomes Steve's sidekick. Never mind Falcon, he's now hooked up with this Spanish bitch. And at first she's a seductress, but then I hate saying kind of and sort of, but yeah, she kind of sort of falls for Steve, but not really, only because she's his sidekick. But in Kirby's world, the woman has to fall in love with the hero. She can't be his equal in any way, shape, or form. So that's it. She is Steve's foil. It's shit writing. It's just awful. Anyway, so we meet Arnim Zola. Arnim Zola from 209 through 212. We are introduced to Doughboy and Primus, and we find out he's in league with Red Skull. So what? And then finally with 213 and 214, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Cap. Oh, Cap loses his eyesight. He becomes blind because one of Zola's monsters scratches his eyes. So now Steve is like, I can't see. But he's actually pretty cool about it. And somehow in 213 and 214, where they fight the Night Flyer, horrible name for a villain, he gets in a costume as Captain America and still manages to kick people's asses. Kirby logic, which is AKA bullshit. That's all it is. Old man, stupid logic. Kirby, get the fuck out. But then we have, of course, then today I read Annual 3 and 4. Annual 3 was weird. It was Cap and this farmer named Hendrix. I forget, Joe Hendrix or Jim Hendrix. They fight this alien who turns out to be a parasitical alien who just sucks people dead and dry. And these other aliens are trying to come down and find, it's the captive. That's the alien's name. But he's really the bad guy. And then Cap thinks the other aliens are the bad guys. It's just horseshit. It's just a bunch of horseshit. Number 4, Annual 4 was Cap facing Magneto and a new Brotherhood of Evil, a new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. So there's no Mastermind, no Blob, no Unus, no Vanisher. There's Burner, who is Byron Calley, who appeared in the X-Men cartoon. There's Lifter, Slither, Shocker, but not Shocker, Spider-Man Shocker. It's another dude named Shocker with these crab claw hands, pincers. And there's 4 of them, yeah. Slither, Shocker, Lifter, Burner, and Magneto. Oh, and Peeper. There's this dude named Peeper with these big eyeballs. It's just weird. It's like, what the fuck is Magneto doing with these fucking schmucks, these scrubs? But Magneto being Magneto, he just gets this ragtag group of mutants and calls them the Brotherhood. Anyway, he goes head to head against Magneto, and he's going after this little mutant thing called Mr. 1, and there's another mutant named Mr. 2. I mean, oh my god. And by the way, guess who wrote and drew this, guys? Jack Kirby. All right, Jack, way to name your characters, Mr. 1 and Mr. 2. The less said, the better, guys. Let's just move on. Yeah, so then we get 215, which finally, it's a retelling of Cap's origin, but the end result is that Cap now desires and he wants to find out who he was before he became Captain America. Who the fuck was Steve Rogers? That's the issue. 216, like I said, is a reprint of Strange Tales 114. And then 217 all the way through 221 has Cap fighting Lyle Decker, who's now a general. And you may ask, who the fuck is Lyle Decker? He's a Nazi spy scientist who once worked for Red Skull during World War II, who now comes back in the present. At first, it's weird because they do a flashback of when, during World War II, where Cap and Bucky go to Hollywood and they're making like a film serial based on Cap's adventures, The Adventures of Captain America, which actually I think was a parody of how like Cap. In the 1940s, there was a real-life serial where Cap didn't even have his shield. He had a gun, no wings, nothing. So I think they made a joke, a parody and a spoof on that debacle of a Captain America adaptation. And they poke fun of it a lot. And Decker is working on the studio, working on the picture, the serial, as a special effects dude. But Cap finds him out that he's a spy and ruins him. And then 218 is a continuation of that. So then 219, 20, and 21, it all just goes into Ameridroid. The first appearance of Ameridroid. Decker puts his brain inside the body of the Ameridroid, basically commits suicide, but he lives on in Ameridroid, and then realizes, oh shit, this was a mistake. I don't want to be 12 feet tall. Fuck. And then he just renounces his mission, his goal to conquer the world, to unleash this nerve gas and take over the world. You would think Kirby wrote this, but it was actually Don Glutt, who sucks. And yeah, I mean, unless Kirby ghost wrote it, I don't know. But Kirby's stories kind of sucked. Don Glutt kind of sucked. Steve Gerber wrote the last issue, 221, and kind of sort of salvaged it, but I don't know. But I still recommend you guys read this. Read the book. Read it. Yeah. Red Skull, Kirby. It is what it is. So, yes. Volume 6 and 7 collects Kirby's run. Take it or leave it, guys. I'm going to leave it, but again, I encourage you guys to read it. That being said, I am now going to move on from one Volume 7 to another Volume 7. That being Deadpool Agent X, which includes 65 to 69 of Deadpool, and then Agent X 1 through 15. I have no fucking clue what Agent X is, nor do I really care, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to go for it. Gail Simone. Yeah, Gail Simone wrote it. I'm not going to say, a woman. There are a lot of very good female writers, but I don't really care for Gail Simone. But the artwork looks pretty good. Udon Studios does a lot of the artwork. So, let's check it out. So this is the next one, guys. Agent X, Volume 7 of Deadpool. And this was Volume 7 of Captain America, the Swine. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, or don't. I don't give a shit, guys. But keep reading those epics. And also on the post, guys, I had to break it up into 2 parts. I hate doing it, but there was so much in this issue to write. So make sure you like both posts, guys, because there's a part 1 and part 2. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye bye.